Right, so it says we're live. Let me just double check. See that we're on there.
Oh, does it just roll into it? Just rolls
Yeah,
in.
man. It goes straight up. Oh, my God.
Concerning, hey?
Yeah, mate. And it should start. If anyone's just joining, just double checking that it is on. We're on. You beauty. Sweet. Well, we are now alive, Tommy.
Is that
Stage
one
4?
viewer? Is that you?
Huh? No, I just deleted
one.
that.
That's you.
So, people, come on. We've got your favourite man on screen right now, Tour de Plat. He's drinking wine now with Eminem. See?
Pretty gross, eh? Yeah, I watch it, man. I watch it. I watch these intently. They frustrate me so much that I just end up going like, I need to. Oh, it drags me in. It lures me in. The production quality. Oh, Jethro, Gummy, Nagel. How are you? It's been a couple of days since we spoke, at least on this platform. You're riding the highs, riding the lows of the Tour de France. Last night we saw Jasper Philipsen lay it down across the road. Not his fault in the slightest, was it?
That was a nasty crash, eh? Like, outside of crashes altogether, that was just... You don't want to see people fall down like that, eh? And he went down like a sack of shit. And he posted, I think today, a photo of him in the, just your obligatory hotel shot with the thumbs up. But you could tell, like, geez, that would have been hard for him to make that post.
Yep. Yeah, media manager's done an excellent job. Hey, media manager's just gone over there and has just been like, mate, we need something. Like, just give me a thumbs up. I don't care if you're dying inside and you're dying outside, which you certainly are dying outside. But the media manager's gone, give me a thumbs up. We'll double your bonus. I don't know. Look, he's done it anyway. So nasty crash though. They out of what was a pretty boring stage yesterday into the finale. It was pretty. It was, something that just shouldn't have happened, hey. Tour de France, can't say.
Nah, and Brian Coquard, he's apparently up all night. He was really upset. He was devastated about the outcome. Yeah, they said it on the screen. Not me, he didn't call me and say au revoir, but he said his teammates were trying to sort of lift him up, but he was down all night because he was very disappointed about what happened. And I tell you what, it's just nasty, but interesting enough, with Philipsen now moving out, it actually changes the dynamic for Alpecin a little bit because it now puts Caden Groves, our man, into the lead sprint position for the sprints that are remaining. And maybe, Tommy, does it open the door for Mathieu van der Poel to go for green? Because that is something he has not done before.
Yeah, it's also something that he said before the Tour de France that he didn't want to do. So he was quite public about it before the tour. He's like, no, I'm not going there for the points jersey. I don't want. He said he does not want the points jersey. So, it was. I think maybe their focus might shift a little bit because Philipsen did say that that's what the goal was. Actually, our man Grooves, he said it. I think to Caleb in the pre-race or the post-race rather, and he was the focus was Jasper to get the green jersey after winning a stage. And now that they had done that, they've got to really, I don't know, look at their options. Really interested to see how they handle it tonight.
He is the option. And Van der Poel could easily go for green. I mean, he's what Sagan was.
No, I think if he goes for green, then he will perhaps put himself on the back foot for going for more stages, in my opinion. Ooh. You were prattling on it all last night and the night before that Van der Poel is not at a premium. So if you're saying that he's going to exert more energy going for green, I believe that he will end up just pigeonholing himself maybe a touch off the form or at least the energy that's required to go after more stages, particularly because the stages he wins are just energy-sapping stages. They're not, every Tour de France stage is energy-sapping, but it's always him having to go above and beyond and, beat a Pogacar, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll wait and see. But I did think Van der Poel was off his game on the first stage, and he was. He admitted that himself. But after stage 2, we quickly realised he's actually going very well. Troy, welcome, mate. He says sprinting is one of the most dangerous parts of the sport. It is. We were watching the videos today, and a lot of people were commenting on the Instagram page at Roadside Cycling Podcast, just saying how nasty sprinting can be with all the crashes that happened. And I posted a reel about it this morning. Geez, to be a sprinter, you've got to be a different beast, don't you?
Yeah, you got to be completely. Oh no, you got to be able to just hit that switch, don't you, in your brain? Just 50K to go. Turn any thought process off, and just become purely reactive and just proactive in riding through gaps. And I couldn't believe the carnage of last night, but also just the level of just the washing machine. Obviously, when you saw it, it was a headwind all day. And it was just this constant struggle to stay at the front in the last 10K, the last 5K. Biniam Grimay gave an interview with Matt Stevens post-race, which I saw this morning. And it was like immediate. It was one of those in the media scrum where he's, Steve-O, he ran down and grabbed Biniam. Biniam's just sucking in lungs of air. And he gave him like a minute to just gather himself. And he said, Biniam, about to die, the emotions. And he goes, Biniam just turned around and he said that. Thank God I'm alive, basically.
Oh, far out. Yeah, they're risking their lives out there. We're back on screen with the race, 129.7 Ks to go. We're watching via the SBS feed, by the way, so you can go on SBS On Demand if you're in the right country. Breakaways at 2 minutes. We've actually got a fairly decent break here. Two of the riders I said who would be in the break to you this morning, Tom, when I sent you a list, Abrahamson. I actually said Joe Hannison in the message, but I meant Abrahamson, the great aggressor last year with the collarbone that's currently made of a wafer biscuit because he snapped it last week and somehow he's out there. Casper Asgreen, he bridged across about a 90-second gap. And we've got Lenny Martinez, another rider who I said would be in there, the tiny Martinez, and Thomas Gackenard from Total Direct Energy. So there you go. That's your current state of play. And from about kilometre 50 to 100, Tom, as we can see on the feed at the moment, it's very exposed, and there are chances of echelons that may happen throughout this next hour period. I mean, look at the field they're in now. That is, if the wind blows, oh boy, Jesus, are they going to be in a bit of battle?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A real open part of the region that they're in at the moment. Hey, intriguing to see if it will blow. I don't know. Hey, it just seems like maybe after last night's chaotic nature that there's just going to be people just put the clutch in a little bit and just take it easy maybe on this stage, because they know today is not really a day for, obviously the sprinters, even the punchers. The GC battle, I think, it's something that's going to take centre place here. There'll be someone who will lose time in the GC here today, which is something that they all would have looked at this stage. I dare say a lot of them would have reconned as well the last sort of 30K. There's only so much velo viewer you can look at, mate, before you go, no, we got to bloody recon this stage and give it a little tickle. You just updating the screen there, mate?
I was just updating the screen, but no, I agree. You got to actually, get down to racing at the end of the day, and I think you're right with the GC. We can see now the peloton, just by the way, I caught one of the flags just to see which way it was blowing on the side of the road there. It was behind them at that point. So they are racing with the tailwind at this moment. So if they do make a left or right-hand turn, we're going to see that wind blowing from the left or right side. And like you mentioned, the GC riders, they have to be on their toes today. I mean, riders like Remco, Roglic, they've already crashed once or twice today. And we haven't even had even the scary parts yet. Oh, sorry, yesterday.
Get on,
and mate, fuck me, we're only one day. And yeah, they're going to have to be on it. Mandy says Cross Taylor is what the SBS com said earlier. So yeah, you can see the flag. So if they do turn, if they do make a left or right hand turn, it's definitely going to be, it's going to be blowing. Look at those flags now on the screen, Tom.
Yeah, dismal. Wouldn't want to be out there myself, put it that way. Terrible. It looks diabolical.
So many spectators.
Tell you what, giving me the shits. I'm just trying to pull up the ASO Tour de France website just now, just to pull it up. To access it, you've got to give your details. Just to access the site. That's crafty. That's
maybe. Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it?
What is this? That's G.
Okay.
Dempster.
So that was That was Geraint Thomas.
Strong. Yeah, that's Thomas. Yeah, it's Dempster now.
I wonder when they sent that, because they're actually not in a good position at all as we're looking at them right now in the peloton. Because Team Ineos, are they towards the front?
Nah, out the bum.
No, they are.
It's got to be delayed. It has to be delayed. It's a little bit like F1. It has to come at least like 5 or 10 minutes after is the agreement, because it also gives some of the other broadcast nations time to translate it. Like earlier on, there was one from Decathlon AG2R. So that's got to go through, and someone's got to do the quick slog, turn it around, and run the English subtitles with the French audio for an English feed. So you got to give yourselves time to be able to do that.
It gets vetted as well, so teams don't just let any comments go through to the broadcast. They also get vetted to make sure that the real stuff that they're saying through the radio, which I'm sure would be plenty of expletives and perhaps some derogatory terms.
Imagine you as a DS, you'd be shocked.
I've done it, mate. Junior nationals, me and Brad Hall in the car. It was a nightmare. We got fines. It was bad. But the breakaway, Tommy, this is a shorter stage, by the way. It's a dangerous stage and a shorter stage. As we can see on the profile there, it really starts to get pretty hairy from about 100 or about 30 Ks to go. But do you give the breakaway any chance today with these four?
No, absolutely not.
Not even with Asgreen. Asgreen has done this before.
No,
really?
Not a sniff. No, not if there's because you've got a little bit of breeze up. So there's going to just be tension. There's just going to be a consistent pace of teams riding together and also just riding, like look at them now. They're still going 44 clicks. So, the peloton, and they've only kept it to 2 minutes, mate. The days of when there's a bit of breeze around and giving someone, 6 minutes is on a flat stage like this, a flat, inverted commas, gone, mate. No chance.
Let me ask you this. What happens if Albertson, who are controlling and have done so for the start, of the race, let alone this stage, what happens if they say, you know what, Matthew Van der Poel's not feeling so good, we're going to stop working? Who takes it up then? Because UAE have been very, very cautious.
This mob right
on screen. Will take up this. Marco Haller starts getting on the front.
Well, yeah, absolutely. A day for Van der Poel, a day where the question for Van der Poel is it hard, too hard for him? Is where someone like Alaphilippe goes, yeah, okay, maybe that's a little bit more me. Even Arkea would turn around and say, yeah, we'll put a man up. All those puncher teams can't miss an opportunity to mix it in today. They just cannot.
When have you ever seen a Conti team, a Pro Tour team, so second level team, take up the reins of the full chase on stage 4 of the tour when the stage is up for grabs? I've never seen that.
Probably when Alpecin, and fact check me on this, when they were, I think it might have been 2020 or 2021 when Van der Poel took yellow. If they were just before a World Tour team, before getting their license.
Okay, but
so eat your words.
They were still a World Tour team, mate, all right? And
they were not, my friend. They refused
the license. No, I know, but they refused the license because back then you could still get the invites. It didn't matter. You just had to pay less money. So either way, all I'm saying is you can never sleep on
mate, when Lotto would have chased. Lotto would have been on the front one point and another.
Last year, mate, Casper Asgreen. Go back and look at this stage win and how he won that stage. It was exactly like this, a pissy day where everyone just thought, here's 4 idiots just going for a bike ride, getting their sponsors on TV, and then Casper Asgreen pulled their pants down. He's got 3 stage wins, and he's won almost all of them in the same fashion as being out there today. So I reckon, I'm not saying the breakaway's
5 idiots out there.
I'm saying they've got a sniff when Asgreen is there. They've got a sniff, mate. Heinrich says, good day. I'm sure I missed it, but how dark are we currently at the French for snubbing Jasper? For snubbing. Is that
harsh.
About hard? Taking him out?
Yeah, something like that. No, that's rough. No, look, the cock was, he was just having a go. Like, yeah. He's a humble French sprinter and he's a journeyman, isn't he? Do you remember the stage where he nearly beat Marcel Kittel? Do you remember that stage?
The uphill finish. It was an uphill finish.
It came down to like half a tire, something like that. Had to go to the photo.
Yes.
And
I remember.
Yeah, you felt for him. Even then, and even now, I look at it now and I just go, oh, I just wish he had won that stage back then. And then also, I feel for him as well. I don't know. I think he cops a bit of flack because of the French tag and what was going on there. But I reckon,
someone who is a dirty rider is Danny Van Poppel, and he's got 6. He has 6 yellow cards this year for the way he's ridden, and I think he collected another last night. So Coquard, he's not a bad rider.
Did you watch him in the mix?
I watched him.
He was Jordy Muse crashed. And then between then and the finish, I followed DVP, and he just had this hand in the back of Pithy, just holding position. It was just no, Mandy. They just had this hand in the back where he kept on pushing his own teammates into gaps that there weren't gaps. I saw the overhead. I saw him do it multiple times, and I just went, "That is, oh, geez, you'd have to pay me a lot of money to be there."
Well, what's going on here? Bike change for who is this? Ineos. Look at this, Marco Haller just coming through for Tudor, so get the fuck out of the way. Remember when that spectator tried to take his bottle after he finished like a Tour of Hungary stage?
When he was riding quick Katusha?
Yeah. The gun segment, Tommy. So if you've got someone, we'll have to do it in the gun for this portion of the tour. So this is that Rodriguez?
It could well be. No, it's Axel Laurence.
Oh, Axel Laurence. He's
a sniff. He's a sniff for today. Speaking of riders, he was there or thereabouts the other night. So he, he'll be in the mix. Put it that way. Hey, he'll be given leeway because Rodriguez and G, they're not going to go well enough to podium. So Ineos, they're sort of fighting for scraps now, aren't they? To a certain degree, where. Or they're going to be exploring other avenues to find a stage rather than just a mountain stage, aren't they?
They are. It's interesting. They don't quite have the team to do what they need to do, I think, at this tour, but they're there to have a crack. Heinrich says, how do you feel about Milan getting progressively more pissy at his fellow sprinters just for being in the race? He's got a short fuse. There's no doubt about that. And I bet he was pretty pissed at getting outdone by Merlier last night. And it was a straight mano a mano sprint too, and he had the inside line. So I'm sure maybe if he doesn't sprint like he's riding a pedestrian bike, he's so far upright, he would actually have a better chance because his aerodynamics in the sprint are disgraceful.
Yeah, absolutely on the money. Hey, yeah. I think. Well, Ewan spoke on it last night, and he said, "Yeah, no, this is," and you're watching him sprint, and he's just pushing so much wind. He was literally on the throat. You look at Merlier in the last 10 meters. Merlier's just tucked away, snug, slippery. Fascinating little finale, wasn't it? Hey, how good was it when Merlier just teleported to the front? All of a sudden, you've got the overhead, the helicopter, and it hits, 500 to go, and then Merlier's just there in the wheel for that right-hand sweeper, and he's just there in the white kit. Looks brilliant.
No, he does look good. That European Championships kit. That was only his second Tour de France stage win, Merlier. It actually took him a long time to get to the Tour de France because often he'd had to compete with the other sprinters that Quick-Step have had at their ranks. They had Fabio Jakobsen when he was the man back then. They, of course, had Cavendish. Then they had Kittel. I think he came just after Kittel. They had Gaviria was a period where he was a big dominant force. And, in fact, Gaviria won on stage 4 at the Tour de France back in 2018. He was only 23, and at that point, everyone started touting him as the next big thing. And I think on the stage he won, Tommy, I think it was this stage, or it might have been a stage of the Giro. After he won, the broadcast were following him with the camera after the stage, Gaviria, and they found him, and he was getting changed. The riders have their podium kit, a fresh skin suit to put on for the stage presentations. He was getting changed in a little building, and the cameraman's gone straight in, and there's Gaviria. This is on live broadcast. His whole hog is out, and I'm telling you, he looked at the camera.
You're screen recording that.
Stuck on him, seriously. And in my life, I have never seen a bigger horse tripod than what Gaviria was packing, and it was on live TV. And Maybe that's why he never won another Tour de France stage again, because he was banned for having 3 legs. So Gaviria, it may have faded away, but he had a good moment on live TV. The photo's still out there too, if you want to Google it. You have to go to page 7.
I can't follow that up, mate. Joe, pull up another comment. Pull up another question. There's got to be one there.
Yeah, it's a question as well. I've got some people tuning in. Here we go. Troy says, the man from Adelaide, have you been around the team area after a stage of the Tour Down Under? Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Oh, well, it depends on the result at the TDU. It really does, doesn't it? You're at the bus, and it's pretty funny. They've got this little area at TDU where everyone's got their Toyota Hiace, and it's real. Honestly, it reminds me of an NRS race. Everyone's just sitting around in camping chairs, and it's either 35 degrees and they're all just salt covered, just filthy. So, yeah, good vibes.
Once I actually, and the gap's still at 2:10 at the moment. We've got a Remco interview at the moment. But once I travelled with Bridgelane across from Ballarat to Adelaide in their team bus, and they were obviously heading to race the Tour Down Under at that time, with all the team riders, or sitting with Zach Marriage and Liam Walsh, and the girls are in the team as well. They're in the next car. We just had the guys in this car, and the van broke down about 30 k's out from Adelaide. And so there we are on that main highway. The van had completely broken down, and we had Scandalora with us, the Italian female superstar. She was a big hitter back in the day. She's won a Giro stage. She was guest riding for the team. She was with us in the van. She needed to take a shit. So there she is. She's walking through the side of the road on the highway, stomping her foot in the bushes to try and scare snakes away, because, it's the Australian summer. And she has to go and take a shit in the bush while we wait for the other team cars to drop off the girls' team and then come back and pick up the rest of us. It was a nightmare, because it was about 45 degrees, and we thought old Scandalora was going to pass away in the bushes from a snake bite. So, yeah, we've seen it all. That's for sure. As Troy said, there's not much privacy for riders. Let's put it that way.
No, certainly very, very, very little for privacy for riders. Obviously, these days they've got the bus, and they get on the bus, and that's their escape, isn't it? We saw it the other night. Remco, even last night, after Remco getting caught up in that crash, he just did his cool down and then just wanted to get straight on the bus, or at least even get straight on the bus beforehand, and then do his cool down. Pretty good when Benny, kind of got picked up on the hot mic a while back. I think that went around a while. Yelling big expletive before getting on the bus. Yeah, good value. Don't mind that. We've got Sam Watson on screen. He's doing the British national champs kit some justice, isn't he? I think he was rocking some white bibs on the first stage, which I thought looked minted.
He's had a good season, Sam Watson. He's been a great pickup. He did come from he was part of the FDJ Development Academy, I believe. He came up with the likes of with Plowright and was Pithy as well part of that setup.
Yeah, it was.
Palmer Development. They had a serious collection. And
you know who they just signed as well?
Who?
Who's the young sprinter coming out of Team Brennan Agnoletto?
Agnoletto, that's right. Yeah, wouldn't be long before
he's got a contract across there, so he leaves sort of that hybrid team of Team Brennan that had the relationship with Atomic 6, I believe it was, and then he moves across to Groupama, so he'll get some good opportunities. Agnoletto, he's rapid.
Yeah,
really,
that's one of the better.
He's one of the better signings. Yeah, absolutely. Particularly
John
for that
David
rider.
Yes, John David, SBS, you can watch it. Depends where you are watching from, because you can only watch SBS in Australia. You have to see what broadcast is doing the feed in your country. So, yeah, check that out. But yes, we saw Agnoletto get signed for that team, and Jack, what was his last name? He won the whole thing. Tiny guy. He signed to Lidl, the winner of that Pro Velo Super League. So he's
me in the bin. Who was it?
He's a superstar. Hang on, what's his name?
Ward.
Jack Ward, there you go. He was a mountain biker turned roadside, so he is going to be with Lidl Trek. And
what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that? So he's turned down the stagiaire role, obviously with Jayco.
Well, that stagiaire role, Tommy, means
it's an opportunity, obviously. So Lidl would put a contract in front of them, and I feel for sure that Jayco would have had one up their sleeve as well. For someone of the quality of Ward, and Jerry, you still have the Australian influence in the team, and the decision making can sometimes fall back on that. I find I'm peculiar. It's a peculiar decision to not just maybe match what Trek were offering.
Well, maybe it is
the off-road. Maybe it is the off-road flexibility, wanting to do XC and a bit of mountain biking that that got him across the line at Lidl.
Well, one of our keen listeners on our YouTube channel, his name's Peter Williams. He seems to have this inside word at Jayco, and everything he has commented on our page so far, he has been bang on. And he commented on our last episode saying that Jayco got outbid for Groenewegen, which we talked about last night on stage 2 for him going to Unibet.
Peter's saying he's going
also outbid for Harper, who will not be at the team next year, according to this man. And I think Jayco's budget is just tied up, so perhaps they couldn't offer that much. That Pro Velo Super League contract, the women's contract, was better because that was a full season with their development team, and Mackenzie Coupland's on that roster. But the men's contract was a 3-month contract from August to October, or August to December, which is just dog shit. It's just sort of Asian races, and it's not very good.
Did you want to see it become a full contract for the year? As a neo, no. You win it, you go neo.
No, not really. I don't really. I think the Pro Velo Super League spends too much money on. It could be spending better using its funding. Put it that way. That's what I think. But Tommy, let's get back to today's stage. 115 Ks to go so far. Average speed of 44.2. They're just cruising for now. The wind is across Taylor. 4 in the breakaway. Asgreen, Martinez, Gackenard, Abrahamson from Uno X with the collarbone, or one collarbone. Who do you think's going to win today? Who is your tip, and who are the tips of everyone who is watching us tonight?
Well, mate, my little financial coverage tonight, it's spearheaded and centralised around Tadej Pogačar. So got a little bit of cover elsewhere. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, going very, very strongly with the world champion. So I look at the finale, and I've looked at it on paper, and don't write off, obviously, Van der Poel. But when you look at the last, obviously the run-in to the first, say, the category 3, that is in the first of the proceedings, where you actually have the intermediate sprint point before there. Then they make this 90-degree right-hander, which is off 700 metres after the intermediate sprint point into the first category 3. You follow that down. You go down this river. So you're in a valley road, or you dip down to this sort of next to a river. Yeah. And then you go, and then this category 4 climb, the first of so basically the third last climb, it is it cuts back on itself. And then it winds over this ridge line, drops down. You've got another category 4 and then another category 3. But it's all done these are all sort of city roads. This is all super technical. So, you're talking, it's, on the actual up and downs are not that hard, but the level of isolation will be, because the peloton will just get strung because of the technical twisty nature of the route itself with the climbs. You could see a group get off the front, that's 10 riders, 5 riders get off the front tonight, and you won't see them again until maybe sort of last 500 metres when they start playing silly buggers. So I just think it's suited to Pogačar, who can just ride position, be where he needs to be, which will be in the front. How rare do we see him miss position for something like this?
It's an interesting point that a lot of that finale is in sort of town street, so it'll be quite narrow. There'll be some road furniture. Manny reckons MVDP is going to get the win. He's got to pay for the private jets somehow. I don't mind that. Tadej to Cameron Alexander says today to stay out of the jersey until after the TT. Watch this space. See, that's an interesting one too. That is the interesting one, because the teams develop their own skin suits specifically for time trialing, and they spend a lot of money with their clothing manufacturer. It's a lot of work to gain minimal seconds in the time trial discipline, and all that work, we're talking skin suits that are worth $20,000 to $30,000. All that work can go in the bin for nothing if you are leading the race, because then you have to wear Santini? You have to wear this Santini skin suit. And that may be, it might be okay, but it certainly isn't what your rider, has tested with and what your team has been working on. So sometimes during the race, such as the Tour de France or other Grand Tours, having the leader's jersey for a time trial is a big disadvantage. And I think that's what Cameron's trying to say. Nobody wants the Santini skin suit, whether it's the green, white, polka dot or yellow jersey. So that's an interesting take, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a great shout. I like it from Big Cameron Alexander.
He can win without taking a jersey, though.
Yeah, he can. Absolutely. The big pog. Or maybe not. He's got 4 seconds in arrears.
Oh, but he won't then.
That's due. So he won't.
There's
with
bonus
unless Van der Poel's second, and then it might go to count back. But I think you are right, though. I think it favours Jonas almost if Tadej wins this stage, doesn't it? And if he does go into yellow and he takes the race suit, it does suit Jonas better, doesn't it? Ultimately, even if it does mean he loses, I don't know, 2-3 seconds or something like that. It's a fascinating one, isn't it? Hey, so
imagine if you have Vingegaard, Pogačar, and Van der Poel all going for the win, and then Pogačar just pulls the brakes at the last minute, just lets Vingegaard take the stage win. Pogačar says, "Hey, I've already got 17 of these things. I don't need any more." And Vingegaard's going to cop that jersey, that skin dog for the TT.
You know who'd have the biggest smile if that happened would be Cav sitting over there while he's got his pint in his hand on the finish line. He'd be like, "Yes, that's another day. He can ride off. He can cross on the calendar."
He's having a good time.
Of course. Oh man, he's the Rolls Royce around the tour. He just rumbles along. We saw him in the lead car yesterday. He's got the phone hanging out the window. I loved it. He loved it.
I know. Do you remember there used to be a guy who was the Namibian time trial champion? He was called Dan from Nam. I forget his last name, Dan from Nam. But there was a World Championships. I believe the one that I think Cancellara won this ahead of Chris Froome, the World Championships TT. And Dan from Nam was the very first person off the block. And he had some real stinkers in front of him. He wasn't a bad bike rider. He certainly wasn't a part-timer. He was kind of a semi-part-timer. And he was probably going to be in the hot seat for quite a long time. He started his TT in a buttoned-up shirt.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, good on him.
He did the TT on a titanium road bike with a button-up TT it was either at the Olympics or I'll look it up, or it was at the World Championships.
Yeah, while you're looking that up, I'm going to talk to the pictures that have come on screen. A little bit of crowd coverage. Crowds have been good. There was that little presser that went around, that little media notice that I saw flick around overnight, where people were asking the crowd to not put flares on the road. I think we saw one on stage 2. Couple of orange flares going off, which obviously the riders sucking some big ones in. They're not used to having a few lung lollies. Not like the weekend punters, are they? So, yeah, they were. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a few of those on today's stage, on particularly second last climb, I believe. Pretty steep. It's going to be some pretty rowdy crowds there, but the barriers have been pretty good, and we saw the barriers come into effect last night, didn't we, mate? How was the young French sprinter from Total? How he went up the barrier, didn't he? I wonder, did he actually go over it?
No, he didn't, because the barriers did their job. They were the proper barriers, the ones that are actually angled inwards as opposed to the other way around. They're very good. They protect the spectators. They also create a distance from the spectator to the actual racing edge. And I didn't think he went over, but remarkably, he was actually okay. He was okay.
Do they have those barriers at TDU?
Yeah, probably.
I can't recall seeing them.
I'm not sure. I think they usually only have them for you only have to have those if you can at in the final 250 meters or something like that. So, yeah, it was Dan Craven. That was the guy's name. He rode the TT in just a road bike, a Cannondale System 6. Ronaldo, welcome Ronaldo. He says this is Tadej Pogacar's playground. Wow.
Yes, thank you, Ronaldo. Who do you think wins?
Thanks for asking me. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes your opinion just water on a duck's back when I'm hearing it. Just
despite it being right all the time, it does get annoying being right all the time. No, I agree with you. I think Pogacar would win 100%. I think he'll win today's stage ahead of Vingegaard.
If you're picking him, mate, that means it's off.
I tell you what, Cameron makes a good point. You do not want to have that skin suit. You do not want to.
It doesn't matter, Pog. Mate, that sort of stuff doesn't bother Pog. Pog's a no bullshit sort of bloke. He just accepts it. That's why people love it, because he just accepts the situation and he just rolls with it. Well, he doesn't kick up a stink. He's not Cadell and he's not fussy. He just.
He rode. I heard about this. He got the pacing all wrong, and I'm sure he'll want to beat him this time and say, "Hey, that was actually an accident on my half. I could beat you in the TT any day of the week when I pace it correctly."
You reckon he got the pacing? I heard that his setup was slower for the conditions. So that's the little mail that I got. That the Visma setup was faster for the conditions because it was very much wind directed on one way, and that's just what I heard through some grapevine movement.
Okay.
Sylvain Dillier, hey, how many Ks? Do you reckon he's the new tractor? What's tractor in Swiss?
Fuck knows. I don't know. But him in the classics, him and Gianni Vermeersch. I mean, we haven't even seen much of Vermeersch yet. Those two, they are incredible. And Sylvain Dillier, I mean, he first came into the foray of cycling fans when he was second to Peter Sagan at 2016 when he won in the World Championship bands. Sagan bridged across from the favourite groups to the breakaway. There were two stinkers there, and Sylvain Dillier in the Swiss National Champs kit. And they ended up going to the velodrome together, and Sylvain was the only one who could hold on to Sagan's wheel when he was at his peak. So that was when I first saw Sylvain Dillier, and he was mostly a time trialist back then. But now, I mean, they're just using him as a diesel, and they've picked him up beautifully. I mean, what a signing for Alpecin. He's just been a workhorse, and he could go all day long.
Is Gianni Vermeersch, is he one of the riders on the move this year? I believe he was coming out of contract, and I dare say that he might actually be a rider on the move and leaving Alpecin.
Red Bull.
Yeah, there you go. So
they've stolen him. I think they've stolen him, and I tell you what, that'll be adding to the list. Yeah, that'll add to the list of names that they show Remco Evenepoel and say, "Hey, we've got Vermeersch here with you."
So where do you stand? Where do you stand on this with Remco? It's one of the biggest talking points in the paddock over there. Is the Remco rumour mill? If you're his dad, you're the agent doing the contract, cutting the cheese. What are you petitioning for? And where? Say it's just a Red Bull Ineos decision. Where are you sending him? Where are you going?
First port of call is just getting away from Quick-Step. It's not set up to be a Grand Tour team. It looks like there's a lot of infighting once Lefebvre has left, and they just don't have the necessary resources to support a proper Grand Tour contender, let alone Grand Tour winner like Remco is. So the fact if he leaves and he goes to Ineos, great. They've got the setup there. They know how to do it. And it looks like they're returning to their old Team Sky ways. Whether or not they'll have the right rider, we'll see. If he goes to Red Bull, that's probably a better PR move, but then they're going to have to juggle Roglic, Remco, Lipowitz. They've got the team to do it, but I feel like there'll be more stress at Red Bull. I feel like Ineos would be a smoother transition for Remco between the two.
He goes to Ineos. And it's fascinating. He becomes sole leader. They need a big rider. They need a rider who they can rally behind. Rodriguez has got to really produce something to say that, like, I'm the man. And since the tour, he's not the man. So I think Brailsford will be pitching that seriously to him. In terms of Brailsford coming back, I think that's just the biggest addition that you could have. He's the mastermind behind it all. Having someone like Geraint Thomas as well working behind the scenes is a massive addition. They're going to get more money behind it. They're going to pitch, the dream to him, the dream to the owner of Ineos, Ratcliffe, to return to the top, the journeyman, so to speak, with the right kid. And I just reckon that would be a hard sell if you're Red Bull. Obviously, though, if you're Red Bull, you do bring across, and we touched on this a little bit when we were talking, the bike sponsorship merry-go-round and the brands wanting to be associated with Specialized. They want to stay with Remco, he's the Olympic time trial champion, the road champion. If he stays at Red Bull, they'll probably kick in the can as well. And it'll be interesting as well with Pinarello. If they leave Ineos and they follow Pidcock, then who gets that contract there? Do Specialized follow Remco there? Does Remco need to go there to bring Specialized? Is it a bit of a, what comes first in that sense? So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Massive aspect there.
We're going to find out in probably a month's time, because August 1st is when transfers can be announced. The gap is still 2 minutes. It's still our 4 litres, and it is still Dillier on the front. It's hovering. It's about the same. You're seeing Jumbo Visma there, or Visma Lease Bike sitting in second position on the train, and then it's UAE. Bit of Arkea here. No wonder Kevin's feeling good. Better. He's just entered Normandy. He's back on home soil. Now Vauquelin, didn't he ride stage 2 tonight? And like Mandy said, Gregoire is a big chance for tonight. Vauquelin also a big chance. And you could see it as we talked about Pogacar's, maybe his thoughts towards the TT and the skin suit for tomorrow's TT. What if they're in a group with Remco, Gregoire, Van der Poel, Alaphilippe, Vauquelin, and let's say Gregoire, and then a late attack from Gregoire or Vauquelin goes, and Pogacar goes, you know what? I'll let that go. That could happen. So they're a big chance. And Vauquelin on his home soil, boy, oh boy.
Pog's not letting anything go, mate, tonight. Pog is just going to chomp them all up tonight. He's got the teeth sharpened. He's hungry. He's got rid of the polka dot jersey yesterday. He's offloaded that. He's ready to take yellow, I reckon. He wants to win a TT in yellow again. He's that way inclined, isn't he? But he races. He does what he wants. So he could flick his mind around in an instant. It's funny though, if they do come to the line altogether, say Vauquelin, Gregoire, Van der Poel, Pog. I'll tell you what, if Van der Poel's not there, Pog's probably still the fastest out of all those punchers, isn't he? And I think he could throw in Thibaut Nice as well if he's feeling better after a crash.
Yes.
To be a bit of an intentional. Yeah, Trek have got they've got to do something, Trek. They're looking for something to release the pressure.
He's still only young, Thibaut Nice. This is his first Tour de France. He's so young. He's going to be the next one that will challenge for the classics, and particularly the Ardennes. Look out for him. Who will win the Tour de France this year? Ronaldo. Ronaldo, where are you from, by the way? Let us know. Great first name, famous first name. I think Pog will win. Tommy thinks Vingegaard will win, and we're sort of locked in that. And I think it's safe to say no one could realistically tip anyone else other than those two at this point. As we're getting a bit of shots of the castles, the churches, they're everywhere in Europe, aren't they, Tom? They're just everywhere you go, these beautiful churches and these monuments. It's not fair, mate. What do we have here in WA? The Bell Tower and Optus. They are a good crowding. I mean, Optus is a beautiful stadium, but geez, Europe does have some very special artifacts.
Don't forget the OBH, mate. Yeah, of course. No, it was quite funny last night, actually. Kino, Guerrero, they were taking the mickey a little bit out of the Church of Saint-Martin and how many there are of this church with the same name, basically. So, tell you what, I wouldn't mind that job, though. Imagine driving around. Imagine being the unit who, visits the sites or at least does the research for it. I reckon it'd be a pretty fun job, wouldn't it, every year? Go around, you tag along with Prudhomme, have a little bit of a gaze at this little town. Oh, yeah, this is safe. 390-degree bends in the last corner, in the last K. We'll use this as a finish.
I just noticed Dillier had just had another gel. So he had a gel 20 minutes ago. And those gels that he's rolling with, probably 30 grams of carbs per gel. So he's smashed 2 in the space of less than 44 minutes. So when you're working on the front at that level, doing that real zone 2.5, 2 to 3 for hours, you're burning so much carbohydrate. It's not funny. So he's probably going to be punching near 100 grams per hour on a stage like this for someone like him who's working at that level for so long. So, he's getting into the nutrition high from, I don't know how to say that name, but it's like 3 letters. How you going, my man? Ronaldo says on this, he goes, how many Ks are left? 102 kilometers to go. You can see it on screen there. The racing is probably going to kick off really, I would say about 100 and, what do you reckon, Tom? About 120 Ks in?
Well, yeah, it's starting to heat up a little bit, obviously, with the breeze we see coming on the right-hand side, the right shoulder here for the Pello. Yeah, it's gonna slowly simmer away, and you were wanting to you were pumping up the brakes tires. The gaps dropped to under 2 minutes, mate. Thanks to one rider who is just a motor at the moment, Sylvain Dillier, who,
the brake isn't going full gas.
But they're not rolling easy, mate. They're not rolling easy. And
Asgreen is. Martinez might not be rolling easy.
Martinez just wants to put himself in the bin so he can just DNF on a stage and go home. This is a good fight back from Martinez. You wouldn't want to be sitting behind him in the chop, would you? I'd be skipping turns, get me behind Big Casper. You'd find a little bit of shade there.
Well, that's what he's doing, isn't he? He's actually, once he swings off, he'll be behind Casper for most of the rotation, and that's not an accident. They do set that up. When you're in a breakaway like this, you want to look after the other riders in that break to the best that you can to extend your chances. So I'm not surprised that Martinez is sitting behind Asgreen when he takes his turn. Let me just look up how.
Do you even reckon Tim Wellens could be a sniff today if it comes down to it? We're talking about Pog.
Could be.
We're talking about
52 kilos, by the way, Lily Martinez. That is tiny. But yeah, go on.
Oh, look, even Wellens on a strategy like this, maybe if he's not having to be full service or if he's there with Pogačar, it could actually be beneficial just sending someone up the road if it's isolated, that group of 5 or 10 or, that real spearhead of that group at the front, Wellens or Narvaez, if he's going well enough. Get them up the road. Pog can just sit in and just look, and they take a stage. And I think Pog's the sort of guy as well where he wouldn't mind if the teammate wins. I think he'd be pretty stoked with it. I think he'd be happy, so to speak, and get one stage win for the team and then just roll out and do his thing tomorrow on the TT.
Absolutely, yeah. It could definitely happen. Heinrich Lenny, that first stage was pretty crazy. It was crosswinds. It was very high power. It was probably the worst nightmare for someone who weighs 52 kilos. I think Lenny, he obviously started maybe a little bit underdone because he's had a bit of a nightmare start. But I don't know. We'll see what we're doing. I think today is more about just getting, I don't know, maybe just getting out of the bunch, and having a bit more of a cruisier ride. He doesn't have to try and fight for wheels. He doesn't have to deal with crosswinds. He can be with 3 other riders and maybe just get a bit of a reset. We know with Martinez, I mean, he wants the mountains. That's where he thrives at 52 kilos and 168 centimeters in height. I tell you what, he wants the mountains. What has Lenny done in his career? He has
staged at the Dauphiné.
Yep.
He just won a stage at the Dauphiné, my friend.
Romandy. He was second on GC at Romandy this year to Almeida, my man, and he's finished second on a stage of the Vuelta so far as well. So, he can ride. He just needs, he needs the mountains. That's for sure.
Yeah, he certainly does. He certainly does, Jet. And of course, we've got to give a bit of a shout out as well, mate. Obviously to Quadlock, Zwift. They're getting well and truly behind us, folks, for this year's Tour de France, aren't they? Zwift. They've been at your back, the breeze at your back for a long time. And now mine, shout out to them. Quadlock, Roadside 10, and you can get yourself a cheap bit of brilliant equipment. Mate, I'm still yet to see my Quadlock. You've got one. You got a fresh one. You said I'd get one as well for this promo, and I'm over here slaving away, pumping Quadlocks tires up.
This is not fresh.
I reckon you've sold. Have you sold mine? You probably flogged.
No, I've got it. I've got it. I bought this after Dirty Warnie last year. Thank you very much. But I'll show you. I've still got it.
Now he's just abandoned me. We can get a little bit of peace and quiet here, folks. And
Mate, I've got the headphones on. I can still hear you. Look at this. I've been sick all day for 3 weeks or three days. I've been sick. I've still got it here. I'm just protecting you. I'm isolating myself. If people knew what I had to go through to get that edit done on Monday for our Monday, seriously, I was so sick. It was bad. It was so bad. But the edit came out quite nicely. The peloton are descending now. We'll see some pictures of the riders that are coming back from mechanicals. They're getting back through the cars. Could be a bit sketchy, this, couldn't it, Tom?
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I always did this. I had great experience of coming back through the cars. So, you figure it out pretty quickly. But all the directors, they're actually so talented, some of the drivers. And I think in the bigger races, some of the DSs will be solely driving. They won't be. Back in the day, there was always, they do all 3 things at once. Now they've just got one driving, one doing sort of the overall tactics at least, or they're bouncing it off between the other director who is driving. But when they're coming back through the convoy, if there's riders coming up, to let the director know the car in front of them, they get on the horn. So they give them a little beep to let them know that rider's coming through, which is very handy. And, it can actually be a big battleground, can't it, mate, in the peloton, We see when splits occur, people coming back from mechanicals. I think we saw even Milan getting a little bit of a tow the other day back from the Quickstep car, just to get them back into the peloton. You look after people and they'll look after you, because if you do someone dirty in the first week and you're out the arse in the gruppetto, and you've been dropped early on the first category 3 climb out of the screws, and there's one rider or an opposing team car, you want them to be friendly with you rather than obviously if your car's done someone dirty on their team, it can be catastrophic. So
they have long memories. They have very long memories.
They do.
Ronaldo asks, who has the strongest team in this year's Tour de France, Tommy? Who do you have in your opinion?
I honestly reckon if you look at the all-round balance of the team, you've got to look at Visma, in my opinion. I think having Wout is just a luxury. Sure, he's done the Giro, but I think he's good enough. He's backing it up. I think we saw the perks of Eduardo Affini come to the forefront on stage 1 as a pure rouleur alongside Victor Campenaerts. They're just exceptional. That trio, and then you throw in Matteo Jorgensen. He's a classy act on the climbs, as well as Sepp Kuss, who, let's face it, to be honest, Kuss, a year or 2 ago was the best domestic you could have. He was the Richie Porte, wasn't he? They'd wheel him out for the Tour, and he helped Jonas win the Tour. So, and then he was able to get himself a Grand Tour victory as well. So I think Kuss, he had COVID last year. He got sick before the Tour, where this year he's moving pretty well, but he's up against some stiff challenges in the sense of Almeida, who is just in his own right should be challenging for the Tour de France.
So Visma Lease Black have the strongest team.
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah.
Fair enough. I think UAE have the strongest team, but they have different types of teams. UAE have brought a real climbing focused team, and Visma have got a bit more of a real air focus. As you mentioned, Troy reckons UAE and Visma, they could really stack their teams if they could. Yeah, if they didn't have to look after other riders' interests, they certainly should. I think it's a no contest, Ronaldo. UAE and Visma definitely have the strongest teams. Heinrich brings up something that we talked about last night or a couple of nights ago about Scott, if they get left out of the World Tour with all the different bike brands moving. So that would be, it's a shame because if Scott leave the World Tour, that Scott foil is a really nice bike. I remember seeing when Sam Welsford was riding that bike and he had it on puppers. I was looking at it and I was like, wow, that is a fast-looking bike.
That's how they sell bikes, mate. Get them in the World Tour. Get them on local roads. People ride them. Kids want them. That's what happens, Have a look at Colnago's success over the last couple of years. before Tadej took off with them, they were a shell of a brand, weren't they? And their image was pretty low. They maybe had that wank high-end Italian nostalgic selling point.
Tommy, what's happening here? Look at this.
No,
this is interesting.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, mate. Just that steady crosswind, that steady pressure. Teams not wanting to get caught out.
But EF, they've got a rider up there with Asgreen. What are they doing?
They're riding position, my friend. There's a little bit of breeze off to the right. Today's a stage that could really suit Ben Healy. It's just hard enough, isn't it? Where Ben Healy, you unleash him or he rolls the dice. Yeah, maybe they're just blocking the road, mate. They're just riding position, Charlie. We go, they would be, mate. Any chance you get the opportunity to be able to get the whole team on the front,
they would not blocking the road. They were riding full noise to be up the front. That was not blocking the road, mate.
Yeah, I know. The road's too big to be blocked, isn't it?
I saw before when you were explaining Vispa's being a strong team. Look at this beautiful chateau. Good on them. They got to do that up, by the way. When you buy those, you actually have to sign an agreement with the French government that you will commit to restoring the castle and maintaining it over the years to preserve the history and the heritage of those buildings. So you don't just buy the chateau and just lay your eggs in it. You've got to actually look after it as well. But yeah, we can see a bit of a change in the peloton. I know someone who owns one, basically. So
why aren't we staying with them now?
We might look if Barcelona happens next year. We very well stop. But look, the gap has stayed the same, and we can see some of the teams are getting a little bit nervous now because that is an open field for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is, with just a touch of 92 kilometres remaining on this stage. Wasn't last night a late finish? I couldn't handle it home. Should have gone to bed early, except for that chaotic finale. It's tricky with the tour, isn't it? You got to pick your battles, don't you? If you're going to stay up and watch the stage, commit to it. Watch the whole stage, suffer tomorrow. If it's going to be a sprint stage, you're too tired, go to bed early and wrap it up.
Well, this being sick has actually been a blessing for me this week, because usually I actually can't watch much of the tour at all because I have to start work at 5 o'clock. So I've got to get up so early, and I've got to have 8 hours sleep. So often I have to watch the highlights, and particularly the tour, because it does start later than the Giro. But being sick has allowed me to stay up till midnight watching these stages, as we see he just missed the bottle. Yeah, I want to know though, what people that are watching, how do you consume your content of the Tour de France? So are you listening to podcasts the next day, catching up that way? Are you watching the YouTube highlights that your pages that you follow? Which ones? Are you reading Twitter or Facebook or Instagram and then following the pages there for the updates? How do you guys consume the Tour de France updates to stay up to date with the race? Because I'll tell you mine. I like to go on Reddit and read the race thread from that stage and just see what the general public opinion on the stage is. Then I'll go onto Twitter, which is the best place to get the quick news of the racing, and I sort of scan through the journos and just the cycling people there and get their takes and any interesting bits. And then if I haven't seen the stage, I'll watch the TNT highlights on their YouTube channel, which seems to be the best production, which is the OG GCN Racing channel. Tommy, what's your play?
Just watch the race, mate. Every stage. Just watch the race. I'm locked in, mate. I'm locked in, mate. I can do it for a month. Toughen up. I can do it. I'm locked in, mate.
Lanterne Rouge, that's another good one. They obviously do some great stuff there, Big Patrick.
Yeah, very technical. Very. If you're looking for something that isn't, what's going on here? Tish Benoot rolling up, wants to get the feedback. Look after Jonas.
Yeah. He'll probably get the feedback for his teammates, I'd assume. So he might get a couple. So
mate, there's a dangerous. Niels Pollitt, he's doing the same here. And then you're going to have or Reindeers or Mezgex collect one for O'Connor. The big feedback. Bit of a block headwind at the moment, isn't it, mate? You can just see it from the breakaway earlier on those cameras. Oh, look at how good just Durbo look in the colours, doesn't he?
Plappy's there as well. So Plappy's up front for the first time. There he is. Look at that. He'll win a stage this year. And I could say on here, Plappy is in his career best form. As forget what he did at the Giro. he is doing the best numbers he's ever done, and Plappy told me that himself.
So you reckon he's got the freedom in the team to go for stages?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think.
No, you just said he's winning a stage. You
I do think he'll get the freedom. Yes, he will get the freedom. I think he's probably been given the freedom, less freedom than the Giro, but I reckon he's had select stages that he says, okay, you'll be able to go for a stage, this stage, or this stage. I think maybe 2 opportunities.
Yeah, I want to see it. Would love to see it. I think between him and maybe Storer are some of our best chances as Australians to get a stage win. You know, Caden, he's going well, but up against the likes of Melier and Milan. And what we saw from Melier last night was just freakish. The way he just teleported to the front, recovered in like 100 meters, and then won the sprint. And didn't just win a sprint. He won a drag race where Milan came back at him in the last 50, 100 meters, and then he had to answer to that and won on the line. So, I don't know, it could just be a little bit too much for Caden, or he's got to sort of find his opportunities on maybe a harder sprint stage, so to speak. I mean, he's got the team to do it as well, but that'll be a fascinating battle to see. Keen to see what Story does do.
By the way, this guy says 8 hours of sleep. Well, that's what I've got to do. You know, when you're working outside, physical labour, you've got to get 8 hours sleep. But you're right, Tommy Storer is a good chance. It's a Japanese name, and that's written in katana. So I can't quite pronounce that. I need my glasses. Mandy, what does she do? She watch until about 10 o'clock, scan Twitter. X in the morning, Lantern Twitter, Rouge, yes. Escape Collective. Yep, they do some. We're members of them. They're good stuff. No comment. Watching evening highlights. Although in the UK, it will be the final year of them having free-to-air coverage, and of course, follow you guys.
It's actually been a really big talking point and something that's been announced. So the lead commentator, who does. They do a really interesting podcast as well, and I tell people to go listen to it. It's called Never Strays Far, and it's David Miller, joined by Pete Kenya, and the gentleman who actually runs the podcast, Ned Bolting, he does the lead. He does the lead broadcast for ITV, and Ned's worked on the tour since he was a young kid. Beg your pardon?
He's a writer as well.
Yeah, absolutely, journalist. Covered the tour for years, and Ned's insight and their take on the tour is so humorous. If you like, obviously, that British humour, they really have it. And Ned, this is his summer. His passion is going and calling, the Criterium du Dauphiné. They do Paris-Nice. They do Tour of France for ITV, and obviously a host of all the classics and everything as well. And they announced that they're actually going to do their own camera or their own audio stream for the Tour de France next year when ITV stops. They're going to be on deck. They're going to have a little van set up, much like this setup, but 10 times better. So they're going to be running that next year, which is, I'm really keen to see how it goes, and I'm really going to support them because I think it's a bit of a shame for ITV to pull back their tour coverage publicly.
It's good to see someone
like Ned doing it.
Yeah, it won't be better than ours, but second to ours for sure. A lot of love for Stanley Street as well, from Mandy and Troy. Stanley Street's great. I've been an OG listener for them. They're a good crew there, and Plappy and Gorn are classic on there. I wish they'd bring back Campbell Flakemore. He was the original.
Yeah, get the flake on.
The talent that never really auditionated. He was.
You say that, but he just made decisions and he decided he didn't want to do it. So I respect it.
I respect it also. 86 Ks to go, already inside 100 Ks to go. So
about 86 Ks. And it's going to be fast as well.
1 hour 50 to go until the end of the stage. So this will finish earlier than last night's stage, which was around about 11:30. And really, if you're up now, all you've got to do is just wait another 40 minutes, and it's going to be hectic because there's 5 categorized climbs inside the last 50 kilometers, and they ain't going to be going. They ain't going to be going slow. We also must remind everyone, Tommy, that our next podcast will come out on Friday, so Monday and Friday every week during the Tour de France, and we'll also do another live at some point. We'll pick a stage, one that suits us, and we'll do another live as well. And perhaps we'll. Yeah, I think this time slot's good, isn't it? Doing it this time because, like you said, it was a good reason to do it now, whilst there's not a lot happening.
Yeah, absolutely. You see SBS, they wheel out the media packages, the pre-race interviews, they jump to those, and it can be a little bit bleak, can't it? Here we go, taking a little bit of a weave through the town, just seeing if there was a change of direction. There is not. Yeah, we'll pick another day. We'll do another live. It's good fun. And if people like it, listen along and also just throw questions at us. And yeah, obviously don't forget to subscribe to the pod.
Absolutely. Look at those fields. I mean, if the wind picks up, yeah. What were you going to say?
It's windy. It's all about the direction. Are you going to wear that Zwift hat the whole tour?
Mate, what Zwift have done for us in the pod, I mean, I've got the Zwift ride in the background there. Well, my chair's in the way, but the Zwift
have you been
ride
using
is
it?
there. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm doing the Zwift Climb Portal Challenge. You got to do the 4 climbs, and you unlock the DD Devils kit. And one of the climbs is easy. The other 3 are actually quite hard. So I'm hoping that I'll feel better. Maybe I'll jump on Friday. Yes, but Tommy, you're being called out here. Mandy says. We won't see you at the Great Perth Monument Bell Tower at PCRTP. Will you be there tomorrow morning?
Oh, very good, Mandy. I went around the other week. I got on the other week because a friend of mine had a friend in Brisbane come over here, and he's any bunch rides. He's a handy cyclist, and I was like, PCRTP is pretty solid. Jump on, and I jumped on, and I was absolutely rinsed. So. I'm hesitant. I don't know. We'll see. Tomorrow, the forecast is going to be 5 degrees in the morning. The sheets, mate, they're just a little bit too heavy sometimes. I can't lift them in the morning. So,
well, thanks for listening, man. Yeah, thanks for listening. And we'll definitely let you know when we next come on live. Troy, I wonder if TNT will get Blythe out on the motorbike. So I like the
it's very good. It's so good.
Remember when they used to get Bradley Wiggins on the back of the Eurosport bike, and he was piss drunk every time, and he was absolutely smashed on the back of the motorbike, and he was just calling riders out. Oh, he stopped for a wee. Here's this guy. He was a flog back in my day, and he was smashed. People didn't know, but he was drunk on the bike, and it was hilarious viewing. It's so good.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good. It was the ultimate boundary rider, wasn't it? When you go to the footballer, you hear the radio broadcast and they cut to the boundary rider who's just in the elements and just getting rained on, or 30 degrees of rain or whatever. Very entertaining. Adam Blythe, he was very good at it.
Wouldn't that be fun? Like you and I, if we were both doing that, that would be just amazing, wouldn't it?
The motorbike would just bin it and have to deal with that. It'd be like if we did one of these together in the same room. Oh my Lord! I think if we did it, your wife, Megan, would just throw us out of the house. Set up at the pub in the street.
You accidentally shared the link to one of your housemates before. You guys couldn't see it, but on our platform, one of Tommy's housemates or someone. and join the chat, and I have to approve someone to get them on the screen of what you guys are watching. So there's this guy, and he's just got this. Anyway, the gap is still at 2 minutes, but you can see the pace is closer to 50k an hour now. And I think there's just a little bit of nerves in the peloton. They want to be up towards the front. We're seeing, we saw EF Education just kind of come out of nowhere and be towards the front as well. But I tell you what, he's making the team's a little bit nervous, but the gap is still 2 minutes. Tom, do you think they're going to make it past 50Ks to go, the breakaway?
Yeah, they'll look, the peloton, in all seriousness, they'll time it. They want the intermediate sprint points. So say for someone like Lidl Trek, where the intermediate sprint points are coming right towards the action part of today's race, so to speak, right up before that first real, or the second, they go over the first category 4, then the cat 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and reel them back in before then, and gain maximum points, particularly for Lidl. After losing the sprint victory last night, they need the points. And Melier, he hasn't contested the sprint points to what I've seen. He's not going for the intermediates. So they will be trying to go after that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they reel it back in and they give Alpecin a hand.
Well, you can see on the screen as well, you've got the riders from in this Tour de France who are from the region that they're in now, the Hearts de France region. And two of those are some very good riders in there. Anthony Turgis, Kevin Vauquelin, who could be a favourite today, Guillaume Martin, and Arnold Demar as well. Some good riders there. Our man here is just saying, deep sleep and my eternal alarm wakes me after 4 to 6 hours. I see. Yeah, it is sometimes hard to sleep for more than what you usually do. Our man from Japan, I assume. But I found out something interesting about Anthony Turgis today. Megan was telling me that she's in Christchurch at the moment, and she was listening to or watching the Tour de France Unchained, and they had quite a big piece on Turgis, who's quite a good classics rider. And he actually has two brothers or a couple of brothers. And apparently, according to Anthony, they are both way better of a cyclist than what he has become and what he is now. But they had to stop cycling prematurely because they both had the same heart defect and weren't able to continue their careers. So Anthony Turgis and the Turgis family have had an interesting history in that respect.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, wow. Just shows you the perils of cycling, and that became all too apparent. The stress it can put on the body, and with Michael Matthews and his issue before the tour, just the concerns, and it's good to hear those things get caught up with the pre-race checks, so to speak. It's a fascinating one, isn't it? Anthony Turgis, he won a stage last year, didn't he?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. You have to look that up. Open a new tab. I'll look it up for everyone. I'll flag.
Yeah, I knew you
would. No, I linked to the wrong person. Anthony Turgis. I don't think he's won a stage before of the tour. No, he did. He won a stage last year.
Yeah, he did.
So he's also been second in Milano San Remo, Dwars Vanderen, Kerner. He's a very classic rider. 31 years old.
He's a rider who's just bobbed up throughout his career, and just, I think if he got on a bigger team, he might have gone further and further, but just loved being a French leader on a French team, just too irresistible for him.
He'll certainly be one of the first to be picked up if Total's closed, because he rode for Cofidis, I think, for the first 5 years of his career, and he's been with Total for the last 6 years. So, he certainly likes the French areas, as we're seeing the peloton just at the back there. You want to make yourself just a bit, get up to that bubble of riders, You don't want to be in that one doom line at the back. It's just uncomfortable. Get yourself right in the real belly of that peloton. And look at the crops, Tommy, on the left. They are blowing. The crops are blowing. The cornfields.
Yeah, certainly are, mate. Certainly are. So there's a bit of breeze around, isn't there? We're yammering on about it, much like commentators are as well. We're not going to see action just with the direction of the peloton tonight. I hope I'm right, because I think the peloton just, after the first 2 days, just can't deal with that. And with the TT tomorrow, I just hope the GC battle's just tranquil until at least, until the mountains come and we see stage 10, the first sort of real climbing day out there, and then down into the Pyrenees. I hope that it still stays close until then.
Our man from Japan, what is your name? Is it Ben? I'm trying to read your name, but it's in, of course, Japanese language. I think it is Ben. It could be Benjamin. But let's find out, because he's a big Wiggins fan as well, as we're getting the Skoda ad. Tommy, we'll probably call it a day in about a couple of minutes. I wondered if anyone had some questions that is watching that you want us to cover off before we wrap up and let the stage unfold from home. But if you've got any questions, put in now, and we'll answer them before we go. But
thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody who has put in questions. I reckon maybe that we should pick the best question out of the tour. Get a quad lock their way.
We could do that for sure. I don't mind that one. What was that one we had the other day on the first one? Who said he'll get a brain aneurysm if he listened to Australians for too long.
Very good. Yeah, put that on the pin-up board. Put that right at the top. What do I think though? What do you think about the lack of commentary options living in Australia? There's a lot of people I know who use a VPN setup. They want to listen to TNT. They want to listen to a little bit more specific cycling coverage, I dare say. SBS, they do a great job at producing a feed that caters to a wide demographic of people who might have very little knowledge of cycling and might have a lot of knowledge. But there's a lot of people out there who go, no, I want very specialised commentary on cycling, and they decide to pay for a VPN and pay for TNT. So,
I prefer TNT over the Australian feed. I just feel like they have a bit more, just have a better analysis and coverage with their higher crop of commentators. They have a bigger budget than SBS. I mean, that's just the way it goes. They can get all the best people, but SBS does the job, Tommy, for me. Remco for the TT tomorrow. What do you think about that? He's probably a lock. He's got to be the favourite, hasn't he?
Oh, I don't know. No, he's not a given, in my opinion. He'll be one of the challengers. I think without Garner, the fact that there's no Garner, and with Remco, he's had a few touchdowns. Maybe he might be a few percent off.
World champion and Olympic champion in the time trial.
Yeah, and he's had a lot of stress the last couple of days. And he's had a few little slide moments on the tarmac. So,
well, if not him, Tommy, if he does have a bad moment due to those things you said, who would you pick instead? 30k TT. That's quite a long one. Yeah, it's going to be 35 to 38 minutes.
Yeah, no, it is hard to go past Remco. Jonas he'll be right up there. I think Van der Poel will give it an absolute nudge. He's not a specialist though. Yeah. He goes so well for someone who just pulls his time trial bike out, blows the cobwebs off, and literally just gives it a crack.
He never rides.
He did it at the Giro as well. Like he finished top 5, just keep himself within touching distance of the Maglia Rosa a year or two ago. So if he's in yellow, I wouldn't be surprised if he just pulls out a ride like what we saw from Alaphilippe, who won the TT stage in yellow a couple of years ago.
Plappy as well. It's a great call. Plapp, if he has no mishaps and doesn't fall down, he will be in top 5, 100%. It is wheelhouse. He could podium.
I think he's taken a lot of wind. He's taken a lot of wind the last couple of days, man.
Mate, he'll be fine. Top 5 if he keeps it all upright. But we'll call it a night there, everyone. Much appreciated for everyone tuning in. You can hear my voice is about to go, so that's probably a good thing. But Tommy and I, we've loved doing these, and make sure that everyone joins in on the podcast on Friday when it drops, and subscribe on Spotify and Apple, Roadside Cycling Podcast. Follow us on Instagram. And Tommy, mate, we're going to be up for the next couple of hours seeing the finish. Do you think Pogačar? I think Pogačar. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, bring it on. No, actually, no. I'll change tack off Pog. If you're going Pog, I'll go Mandy's option of Gregoire. Whatever, put it down.
Ooh, good call. I love it. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next live. Stay up to date with Roadside Cycling Podcast on the Instagram and, of course, our podcast players. We'll catch you on the next one.